Hi there, it's James from Tender again, back for another How We Made. And this time we're doing our song Bloodshot. Let's just play a little bit. Oh, system overload, brilliant. So let's just jump in. It's probably going to do that a little bit because this project is quite hefty, as you can see. There's 211 channels because I just can't stop adding stuff. Right, let's look at the drums first. This is probably what kind of started the song, along with that main sort of riff there on the guitar. So we would have started with these program drums before we went and did live drums later on down the line. So this is the main loop here. It's like I mentioned in another video that a drum machine plugin make a Teletone audio. This one's called Soulfi. It's like really cool Motowny almost sort of drum sounds. So this loop you can hear it's kind of really reverby, tambourine-y, boomy. It's just got such character to it. So that was the main sort of loop to start the song, I think. Nothing else really going on there until a bit later on, but then we went and laid it. After the song was finished, obviously, and the record was finished, we went and recorded these drums with our drummer. I'll solo those 1 second. Tighter kit, not as like boomy, but together they work really nice. The hats are sort of really humanized, which is kind of what we were going for when we went and re-recorded these live drums. But I love the tone of that sample kit, so it's just kind of finding a balance there with that. So yeah, there you go. That's I think pretty much it for the drums in terms. It doesn't really deviate too much from that. Here's the chorus here, just to give you a bit of reference. I think it does a bit more here. Some crash. A little bit of chimes going in. It has these like crunchy stomps. Let me just solo those. Big boomy cinematic sort of drum sound. I think that was a splice sample actually. It came later, but it adds a bit of meat to it. And then real tight again for the verses. And yeah, I think that's pretty much how it goes for most of the song structure. Yeah, just sort of expands a little bit as the song goes on. But yeah, that's the drums. Cool, let's look at... We've got the bass guitar doing some stuff here. So there's a few layers. Some of it's bounced in places, sorry, it looks a bit messy on the screen. This would have been the original part. Which, again, is just my standard issue Tender bass channel, which I said I'll be happy to share if anyone wants to have a go with it. You know, you got Wolf compressor, the DBX 160 Kramer tape. It's got a little bit of chorus on this, and using the Tau chorus for that, which is, I believe, a free plugin. So yeah, check it out. A bit soothed just to tame some of the horrible frequencies. I've got it going to a bass, which looks like it's doing a little bit of saturation, I think, in filtering there. I think it might have been a preset just as bass amp plus enhancer. So I think it's just saturating a tiny bit. But then I think during that main hook in the beginning, we have a parallel here, which is really, distorted, almost saturated, and that's going through a decapitator with a bunch of drive on it, and it's a bit, EQ'd a bit. So it takes out all that low end, and it's just that high end saturated fizz, really. But together, they sound pretty cool. So yeah. And then it carries doing that through the verse. And I think later on we've got some Moog sub bass coming in, which is just this emulator, which is the Arturia Mini V3, which is a great little mini Moog sort of emulation, which I use quite a lot. Let's have a look what it's doing. Just adding some like subby low end fatness, really. And Nathan in the mix probably would have taken that and moulded it a lot better than I did. I got it sitting as well as I could, but low end's an absolute bastard to mix, especially when you're using multiple sources. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the bass. And just listen to this section here. Oh, some filtering going on that Moog bass, just to give it some character, really, and some, going into sections, just really opening up. Yeah, CD. What have we got next? We'll come to guitars now. So let's just take a look. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. A lot of layers, a lot of mess to sift through. Sorry, my projects, I've got a lot better than I used to be, but they're pretty messy. Because when you're sort of writing, you just want to get stuff down. You don't want to, mess around with organising things. It's like, that sort of kills the mood. Every time you record something, you go back and label it and you colour the part, and it just slows you down, or just run out of steam. So I come back and do that later, and I did it to the best of my ability, but it may still be a bit chaotic, but I know where things are. I think. Right, guitars. There's some acoustics doing the main riff there, and then these heavier guitars come in here. So let's just look at quickly what's on those. The acoustic is just a very simple, I think it's a Logic preset, doing that main hook. I've got a channel strip, a bit of Studer, which is just giving it a bit of tape saturation. I believe this is, what's this doing? It's an octave of the part. Again, same presets, left and right, panned, double tracked. Oh, I have an acoustic there doing, which sounds like it's going through, I don't actually know what's going through. It's going through a chorus. It's got the Studer, I think. Oh, it's got that extreme saturation preset that I told you about on a previous video, which I really like the sound of, and I use it on quite a lot of things, even an acoustic, believe it or not. Okay, and then the main guitar is this part here. Okay, so that's made up of, I think, a main. There's like a high and a low, I think, 2 octaves, but then both are double tracked. So we've got one that is, it's a preset, I think, Honk and Drive by the looks of it, and I might have tweaked it a little bit, added a bit more. Oh, I see here. I've got on the actual bus, guitar bus for this particular sound. I've got some Devil Lock, which I really love this plugin, just a bit crush and just really crunch things up a little bit, squish them. It sounds really cool. Other than that, I think the low sounds are... Oh, they're slightly different. I've got one here, which is... I think it has... Yeah, a bit of the RC20 with a bit of the vinyl sort of warp. And then the primal tap doing the double treble preset, which again adds that sort of chorusy seasickness, sort of tape bendiness to it. So yeah, that's the main riff. Some high pitched sort of this little crunchy guy, which sounds like it's got some bendy stuff on it again. Yeah, RC20, wow and flutter. This section here, I use this plugin a lot. I used to use it a lot more than I do now, but yeah, it's brilliant just to take a sound and fuck it up a little bit, you know, in a good way. What else do I have? I think it's just spring reverb on the amp. Yeah, spring reverb on the amp and some distortion, and the EQ is quite dramatically cutting out the low and high, sort of like shelving that. So yeah, and then chorus, some chords I believe. Some nice, very nice chords. They sound, again, they've got a bit of that bendy, detuney sort of sound. Okay. Not much going on there. Oh, big crunchy, like one hit notes. You know, that gunshotty almost. I really like that. It's almost like Ennio Morricone sort of like Western style. But that is, again, it's the same tone, I believe, as the main riff, but I've just put the extreme saturation on there and it just goes ham. And play it with the bridge pickup. I'm using the I think I'm using this guy, which is pretty much what I use for this whole record. Just a Fender Jazzmaster. Okay. I think that's it. There's this middle 8 section which has got some quite heavily compressed, strange delays going on there. I think I have. There's that. Oh, there's the echo you can hear there is coming from an Echo Boy on the master stereo out. Just going crazy on all the instruments. It's cool to do stuff on the master bus sometimes like that and just fuck everything up. It sounds pretty cool. Be it like delay or tremolo or just anything. You can play around with anything really on the master. So yeah, I think that's it for guitars. Throughout the song, I don't think it does anything else really. Some guitar chords, very Justin Timberlake. So yeah, and that's the guitars. Let's move on to the keys. I don't think there's a whole lot going on. No. Let's take a listen. It doesn't come in till here. It's just doing the verse. which is
Wanna carry on.
it's like this C6, I've called it C6 synths, which are weird. I think there's samples, but I've like how am I doing? I got filter on there, retro synth, this flutter vibe is a cool preset. Just to add some sort of ambience and character really to that verse section, a bit of uneasiness, you know. That's CS80 following the sort of the structure, the chord structure / guitar structure for the chorus there. You can hear it. Oh, if it doesn't system overload every 2 minutes. And that's this Arturia guy, CS80. Very cool emulation. Got a bit of piano. Very high pitched chorus on the piano. Again, it's got that sort of uneasiness to it, which I really like. Other than that, what else do we have? I think that's probably it. We've got some stuff going on in the middle 8 here. Just a nice pad. This. Oh, this is on the Moog, but it's like a higher just pad sound really. It's quite simple. So yeah, that's it for the keys. It's very, very simple on that. Like I was saying with the last song we were talking about, did go crazy on the synths. They're not so much the backbone on this record, very much so the sort of supporting role. It's still really fun to play around and add those elements, but much fewer of these songs have like the main chord progression as a synth, like it would be before, like using like a Prophet or whatever. So very much just little details here and there. And now you'll hear when we go into, this is the miscellaneous effects, sort of extras bus that I have going on, with some of the details. That little sample there, the fuck what you doing, like that's just got a shit ton of echo boy on it and a bit of effects rack, but that's kind of, I just thought it was a cool way to start the song. And there's this one short one. I think that's got a bit of chorus on it, yeah. Some ambience. The shout. Yeah. It's just little things I think that just make it a little bit more interesting. Fills the space sometimes, you know, when you need it. What else we got going? So yeah, just looking at some more little effects bits. There's not a whole lot more going on. It's just shouts, weird sort of synth chatter, risers. Oh, this is quite a big one. This big siren sound. Love a siren sound. That's just going through. Valhalla Vintage Reverb, which I love using that. Use that all the time. Oh, some sort of little vocal chops there. It's like old school, resampled. That's going through the Altar Boy, and the performance just pitched up a little bit. The effects rack. That's got some sort of reverby preset It does a lot of weird stuff. It sounds cool. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, some more ambience and things like that. And that's the effects and the miscellaneous, as I will say. Let's take a look at the vocal. I'll start with my vocal. Again, we re-recorded the main vocals, but most of the stuff that made it onto the track are just demo vocals that were recorded here through my mic, the Aston Spirit, which I have got a nice U87 clone actually on the way, but I don't know when it's going to arrive, but very much looking forward to that. But yeah, the main vocals were re-recorded on a vintage Neumann U87. So yeah, let's take a listen.
I've been stuck in my head.
Got a bit of pitch correction, helps a little bit, glue it together.
I wanna carry on. Yeah, I wanna get back in.
SSL channel strip, CLA 76 again, sibilance. That vocal there is going after the on the bus is just a LA2A, just to add another stage of compression, just to sort of clean it up and glue it together a little bit more. And on the buses, I've got an effects rack. I love using this preset. It's on Soundtoys on the effects rack. It's called Color Vocal Chain. I always have it set in my projects, on vocals, just a little bit, just to add a bit of character to it. Just it's got a few things going on, but it just adds a nice little bit of something, if anyone uses this or has Soundtoys, try it out. I promise you, it sounds great. And then I have here a little bit of, this is a Capital Chambers. It's a UAD plugin, sort of old vintage chamber reverb. Just a little tiny bit of that, just to add some space. Okay, what else do we have going on? So that's the main vocal, as you can hear. I'll show you. Yeah, and then we've got a falsetto. We re-recorded this falsetto as well. Very airy and breathy. Same stuff going through that as well. I have a falsetto that's it's processed slightly differently for the... It's not very flattering, but it sounds good in the mix. That's going through... it's got a different reverb on it. I'm using this Hitsville chamber reverb for that. Another UAD vintagey sort of reverb sound, just to mix up a little bit in terms of, changing the reverb seems to help separate sections for me, and especially different voices, like the falsetto will have a different reverb to the main or to Marion's voice. A little bit of Galaxy Tape Echo. I think it's just doing a bit of a slap sort of effect on there. Oh, system overload again. Yeah, a little bit of slap sort of delay. Other than that, we've just got some backing vocals doing some bits. Oh my god, this... Just sort of call and response, backing vocals. Yeah, and that's it really. There's some parts later on in the song which are
Do you love me? Need to really take a look at myself.
that sort of response vocal there.
Do you love me? Don't think I'm good for you.
That has a little bit of chorus. There's some harmonies in there. I thought I had. Oh yeah, some of them have little water boil in there, just shifting the formant down a bit lower. I like to do that sometimes. I did it a lot on the last record, just having the main. Oh, sorry, that delay's annoying me. Having the main vocal, sort of having another layer of it, but just adjusting the formant, either pitching it up or pitching it down. It just adds this sort of like weirdness to it. It's really low in the mix, but it just, yeah, I really like doing that. Especially for sort of like a response vocal like that. Just, it almost sounds like someone else is doing it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my vocal on this song. And then, of course, we have the wonderful Marion again, adding so much to this song and making it sound wonderful.
I forgot to breathe for a moment.
Just lovely.
Look a little bloodshot, hanging on the subplot. Trying to tell me something about me. Ooh, yeah, how do you love me?
So yeah, as you can hear, it just sounds lovely, and it layers really nicely with my parts and makes me sound better, which is great. Her processing is fairly similar. I'm using an SSL channel strip, it's just the UAD version of it. Not much else going on really in terms of processing. I have a bit of the vocal color on her parts, and there's a little bit of the same slapback sort of delay using the Galaxy Echo. I have all the Springbox, which is just a Logic little pedal plugin, which I really like, the spring reverb. Really into spring reverbs at the moment for everything, drum hits, vocals, just really cool, like vintagey sound. So use that on her vocal just to differentiate her tone and the way it sounds and the way it sits. Using this hits fill thing again for her in the chorus, and yeah, just a space designer on some of the backing vocals, but it's all fairly straightforward stuff. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just layering upon layering. So, I'll do, for me and for her, it's sort of get a low version, the low octave, and then I'll get like the middle octave, if you will, or then like the high, the falsettos, and then keep what I want in there or take away if it feels like it's not necessary. Sometimes the lows get cut out, but the falsettos tend to sit, and sometimes the falsettos will get pushed to the front a bit more in the mix, into like the chorus or something. But yeah, just if you're struggling to like record vocals or whatever, and you don't like your voice, I feel like when I started doing this stuff, it was just trying to hit the note as best as I could, or at least add some character to my voice that was interesting, and then just layering it up, and it tends to hide a lot of those mistakes, that pitchiness, and it becomes its own thing. So you really can, you don't need to be a great singer just to make music if you've got good ideas. So yeah, give it a go. But I think that pretty much covers it. Let's have a little, if it won't system overload. That's it, that's the tune. So yeah, I hope you like this video, and I'll be doing more of them. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. So cool. Thank you. Bye.